Hello, everyone. This is Anthony with the Dragons of Victory, and I'm going to be speaking in broader terms than usual. Most of you who come to this channel are expecting, because I've said the specific nature of the Dragons of Victory is to address the issues with traditional Catholicism and why it's dangerous, why it's destructive, and why you shouldn't be a part of it. And I'm speaking in a bit more general terms right now because I want my intentions, I guess, to be more clear here because I really dragged my own feet to a large degree to set up this channel. I am very much a live and let live kind of person. And even after everything I experienced, and even after everything I knew and understood about this environment, the whole culture and world of traditional Catholicism, I very much just naturally preferred to put it all behind me and not continuously talk about this past and these memories, and also not constantly present this community as people to be targeted or as people to be attacked, because I don't want these people attacked. I knew so many it let me qualify that. I knew so many very good people who continue to be good people, who, like I did, have a very, very secure sense in their religious community, because that's what they're there for. They're meant to be a shelter from the storm that is life. They're meant to be familiar. They're meant to be a regular thing that stays the same in your life. That's very important for people to have. Um, I understand that completely, and that's why just innately, just on a very, very core level for me, out of principle, I didn't want to have kind of a kicking up the hornet's nest, or disturbing the peace of these people kind of approach or kind of effect. But it just got to the point where the the the, the sheer amount of time that had passed, and the damage that I was still seeing in myself, and beginning to understand more as more and more as having originated from this environment, and just, finding more, hearing more from people who shared my experience and who validated concerns I'd had, and who confirmed things that I'd thought about this environment for a long time, and just seeing in so many other ways people who just came out on the other end, came out of this experience, in this environment, just damaged and broken. But it just got to the point where I couldn't ignore the problem anymore, and I had to address the problem, and I had to confront the problem. But it's still very much, um, a point, an issue of, I don't know if regret. I don't regret any of this, but it's regret. The situation is unfortunate that, you know what I think should happen, the steps a lot of these people I think should take in their lives to remove themselves from these groups, would be very, um, challenging, just hard, maybe even traumatic in a way for them. It would be, uh, having your entire world shift around you abruptly, is obviously extremely difficult and devastating. And I would never, you know, and I never want in any way to be an aggressor in any way to impose something uh, damaging or destructive in any way in anyone's life. But the effect of these groups, these coercive control groups, the way they just cripple people in certain ways, it's practices that need to stop and need to be addressed. And so now to get into the broader issues here, so much of this is wrapped in for the desire of certainty, the need for certainty that some people have. We need to be certain about things in life. We need to know the world around us. We can't go through life obviously with having no certainty in any way whatsoever. There's basic principles, but I would say across this across the board of humanity, of civilization, of culture, across the board, we have a basic moral structure that I think is largely inspired by the golden rule: do unto others as you would them do unto you. I often feel that the golden rule maybe is all you need to live a good life, to live a moral life. But the the desire for a familiar place to return to, a home, com- comfort, routine, um, that needs people need to be certain that that'll always be there. There needs to be an element in people's lives where there is no doubt whatsoever. And like I just said, you have to have some certainty in life, but that certainty is based on evidence. That certainty is based on the tangible. You can prove it, you can demonstrate. So essentially, the scientific method. I think the scientific method should be the primary source of certainty in society because it doesn't, in and of itself, demand acceptance. It's a process that you follow where you can see step by step, employing your basic, tools of rationality and logic. You can follow it along and get to its conclusion. So the scientific method is not um, it's not a belief. You don't have to believe in it. You just have to do it, I guess you could say. You have to just sort of follow where it leads you. And it's truth, well, as close to truth as it can get, it'll be unmistakable. So it's often felt in groups that or in groups like this, in high control groups of a religious nature, it's always felt that you must have that same sense of certainty that the scientific method can be applied, that you use the scientific method to get. You have to have that same sense of rock solid certainty. I'm right no matter, and I can't be convinced. I refuse to be convinced. I've heard people say certain things like, nothing will convince me that this isn't true. Whatever belief they have, be it religious or whatever. I've heard lots of people in person and on media say, I believe this, and there's nothing that could convince me otherwise. I don't think that's in any way virtuous. That's in no way is it a moral good to say that to declare that, because you always could be wrong. Scientific method, following that, I mean, science changes and adapts based on new information. So something that you use the data, the information, and the equipment you had at the time, you followed the scientific method, got a certain conclusion. When new data shows up later, we have new information, you adjust accordingly. But so many religions of today were founded, you know, thousands of years ago by men making absolute, firm decisions based on obviously based on incomplete information about the world. They were declaring truths about the nature of reality based on severely less data and information than we have today. Doesn't make us superior to them in some way to have to have this data, to have this knowledge. Doesn't make us better people than them necessarily. It just makes us better equipped than them. We have the tools that they didn't to understand the world around us, to you know, to get to answer these deep questions we all have. I don't think we've come really that much farther at all in terms of answering the cosmic questions than people did back then. We've come a long way in making this life more comfortable, which is a good thing. It's you see this so often in trad Catholicism and other coercive groups about this. They look around at the outside world and it's look at how comfortable these people are. Look at how easy they have it. Look at how stupid it makes you. There's some truth to that, but we want people to be comfortable. We want people to be happy. We want people to have good lives. We should want everyone around us to be in good, just in a good place, physically and emotionally. We want that because, I mean, if we're just thinking about this on a purely, you know, you know, sep- purely selfish sense, which I'm not saying, I'm not arguing from this point, but if you want to just take any kind of morality out of it whatsoever, you'll do better if you're surrounded by, relative order in terms of people who are comfortable, who are happy, who are at peace. If you're surrounded by relative peace, you're going to be better off, obviously. We don't want to live in a Mad Max world. We don't want to live in a world where everyone is out for themselves because it would suck for us. It would suck to live in an environment like that. So, going back to the golden rule, right? Just on a purely selfish level, you could say following the golden rule is better for us in the long run because it stabilizes the environment around us. So, bringing it back to certainty and the problem with certainty and why certainty in and of itself is not a moral good is because you can't be certain without sufficient data, sufficient information. And if you demand certainty at the ignoring of the possibility that you could be wrong and the possibility that anything could come that could dissuade you of your belief, and when that certainty, that refusal in any way to even consider the possibility that your worldview is wrong because of how personally threatening that would be to you, that ultimately is selfish and childish and not something to be commended or respected in any way. Obviously, like I've been saying before, you don't want people around you to be in that position where their whole world is rocked and where everything or the thing that brought them the most sense of peace and the most sense of stability is threatened or damaged because that throws their whole world for a loop. We don't want that for people. But when they're holding on to that desire for peace so ferociously that they're willing to oppress others, hurt others, violate other people's peace to protect theirs. That's when that's what I call damnable certainty in this case. And again, it's not virtuous. And we should stop humoring and we should stop allowing the argument to be presented to us of, you know, this about, this is my belief and leave me alone and how dare you attack me for my religious faith and my trust. Um, I agree with that in principle, but you see it so often. What they're really what they're really saying is stop oppressing me. Stop trying to. Uh, I guess you could say my peace requires the oppression suppression of others. My peace requires others to be um, disrupted and for other people's lives to be upended. We have to say no. We're all in the same boat. We're all on the same planet. And we all deserve peace. But I don't think one of us, you know, when you take your peace and you hold on to it to the point where you don't care what damage it does, that's that's the issue here. And that's the distinction that needs to be made. And hopefully, if we take this approach more, we'll fly away to victory.